Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church. Climb the mount with us, Sundays at 10 o'clock a.m. A word from Pastor Aaron C. Adams, Jr.
One of the things that I wanted to bring to you today is that this was kind of right after Jesus' death, and they were appointing preachers and teachers and scholars of the word because there was a change that was going on in the atmosphere. There was a change that was going on in the body of Christ. There was a change in the church. The church was no longer the same. They could no longer go to the temple because it had been ripped from the top to the bottom.
All right.
And the thing that people didn't understand is that church had changed. Normally a lot of preachers preach this because normally they preach it to preachers at installations and when you have a preacher's anniversary. But I come to you today because, see, you're not off the hook. You know, all these things in the scriptures, you can say, well, that falls at the preacher's feet, that falls at the teacher's feet, that falls at the apostle's feet. I'm bringing it to you this morning because it's going to fall at your feet, because you got to understand when you're not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, you are that preacher, you are that teacher, you are that apostle.
All right.
Because, see, I'm going to tell you something. Being in Mount Pilgrim and being where I am has taken me way out of my comfort zone. Back in the 80s, I had to take a test because I went into management and I was an ISNTJ, which means I'm an introvert. Those of you that went to school with me, I didn't say much. Wasn't going to talk much. Now, if you got in my face, I would say something, but I'm not going to talk much. And I had to learn that I would respond if somebody was in front of me. So I had to take a test about 5 years ago. DISC profile. You got your D's, which are just your people that are just direct. You got your I's, your people that encourage. You got your S, your people that are steady. No matter what goes on, they'll just keep trugging along no matter what happens. Then you have your C's. Your people that's going to ask, why are you doing that? Why you have that? Why are you doing it this way? Where did you get that scripture from? And I learned through all these profiles that everybody is different. Nobody's the same. And I want to tell you about your old preacher this morning. I'm a double D. When I took the test, I scored 96 at work. I scored 94 at home. Now people said, my goodness, what the people up with? My I, real low. It's being an encourager. My S, very low. Think I'm going to be steady with you? I'm going to run on. My C, I don't like steady. I have to sit there and have to make myself steady 3 days before Sunday. But one of the things I had to push out of my comfort zone is that being in church and being a person of God, and we got to understand each and every day that people are looking at us. They're looking at our happiness. They're looking at our joy. And they look and see, what is it that's on the inside? What is it about you that makes God shine through? So I had to go there and pull up the eye. Even though it was uncomfortable for me to pull up an eye. I had to go there and pull up an S. I knew we got to take our time and do things right. I had to go in and study, and I had to pull up a C. So if I can change, you can change.
All right. All right.
If I can teach, you can teach. If I can pray, you can pray. See, one of the things about this particular chapter, I told you it was Paul's last imprisonment. See, Paul for the word of Christ, and y'all got to understand the world didn't want to change. The world was happy where it was at. Y'all little Christians, go to your little church and do your little things. Don't bother us in the world. Let us have the way we need to do, and let us just do things the way they should be done. But see, when Jesus hung on the cross and he died, something changed in the atmosphere. Nobody can longer be the same. There was people that a future that's bleak. Death is in the future. But Paul says, I have to reach out to my sons and my daughters. I have to tell you that I love you. I have to leave you an encouraging word. Because he had been thrown into prison. His family could go see him. He was set up where the church could go visit him. He would get out and preach the word of Christ. He would get out and say, you got to change from your wicked ways. He would get out, and there was a burning desire and a testimony in him, and he wasn't ashamed of who Christ was. He wasn't ashamed of his deliverer. He wasn't ashamed of his change, and he got thrown in prison again. His family could see him. The church could see him. I didn't even realize back then they had 3-strike rule. Because see, this third time, he got put in jail. Family couldn't see him. Church couldn't see him. I don't know about you, but for your faith, if you were pushed up against the wall and they told you were nothing, your faith was nothing. Your God was nothing. How would you stand and survive? See, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go a little bit into this. This is about 60 or 68 years after Christ had died. And you know, they had decided, I don't know if it was too many people in jail, but there was a purge. They call it a fire. They killed everybody. And they say this is when Paul had his demise, that he didn't know why he was in there. He just knew things were different. You know, maybe he wasn't getting the food. Maybe he wasn't getting anything, but he knew it was something different. But he wouldn't give up his faith. He wouldn't give up his hope. And I come to you this morning. He came to you, he wanted to encourage you. In his dying request, he's saying, hold on. Hold on to what you believe. Hold on to your ministry. Hold on to your life. Your life was only given to you. When you were coming to this world, you didn't ask for it to be born, but God says each choice that you make, each thing that happened to you, it's your life, and God says, I'm with you. I don't know if Paul felt that he would not get out of this prison at this time. And one of the things it says is he was going into it, he started thanking Jesus. He said, God, I thank you for my suffering.
All right.
I thank you for the pain. I thank you for the chains that they put on me. God, I'm thanking for you. I'm thanking that you died on the cross, that you rose again so that I have a right to the tree of life. God, I thank you. They can't take away my joy. They can't take away my hope. They can't take away those things that are inside of me that I will live forevermore.
Thank you.
One of the things in this particular chapter, y'all preachers, looking at every one of you, it talks about prayer without ceasing. You know, we love to say that because, you know, if we sick, prayer without ceasing. If we doing this, prayer without ceasing. But do you know that you cannot fulfill the gifts and the fruits that God has put inside of you unless you pray?
All right.
So if you're one of these people that's going to get up and do a quick prayer, come to church, why do they pray so much in church? If you got a sister-in-law or a brother-in-law or somebody in that and they're praying all the time, you have to pray. There's something to unlock those gifts that God has put inside of you. You got to pray without ceasing for repentance. We have to pray each and every day. We don't know when we offend our brother. We don't know when we offend God. God says stay in prayer. For the fruit of the Spirit will pour out His blessings. You don't understand. You're locking up what God has put inside of you. reached out my son that I love. I just want to see you before I die. I'm locked up, chained up. And just think about it, y'all. He made a request that couldn't be fulfilled. They wouldn't let him see anybody. They were trying to take his hope. They were trying to take his joy. They was trying to take his God away. So what Paul wrote to him and says, I know your mama. She was a praying woman.
All right.
I know your aunt. She was a praying woman. I know your grandma. Don't ever forget who you are. Those people prayed and prayed and prayed without ceasing. They prayed for you. I know what stock you come from. I know who you are. God says don't let anybody take that away from you. I come today to encourage you. I come today to let you say you're not off the hook. It ain't up to me to carry this on. It's up to you and you and you and you. We all got to testify. We all got to believe. We all got to cry out that our God is our God.
Yes.
God says, I didn't give you the spirit of fear. What y'all scared of? Talk to me this morning.
All right.
Because see, I'm a little medicated. I've been taking my allergy medicine. I'm going to blame that. What you scared of?
All right.
When somebody says that you're a believer, oh yeah. What church you go to? I go to this little church. Just leave me alone. God said, I didn't give you the spirit of fear.
All right.
He said, I gave you the spirit to conquer your enemy. I gave you the ability to call out my name. And I will slay those on the right and the left that are not like me. Know who you are.
Yes.
Do not have any fear. And God says, and this is in the scripture, my God, have discipline. We just can't run amok and do what we want to do. There's accountability on us that's different from everyone else. You know, we like to take this Bible and slap the world with it. We like to take the Bible and throw it at them. You need to get right. You need to get saved. This book and this word is for us. And God is saying, be disciplined in the word. Be disciplined in the gospel. Be disciplined in the gospel of Jesus Christ.
All right.
I was just thinking, since I was told by man who I was, wouldn't it have been funny if I come up in here with my double D's? My 94, my 96. See, I'm going to tell you, it's abnormal. Because most people score 40. Most people be at 20. Most people will kind of level out. What if I came here and say, y'all going to do this, and that, and not listening? Where would I be if I didn't listen to Jesus? Where would I be if I didn't have any discipline in my life? Where would I be if it was all about me? All about my feelings. All about my character. All about me and what I can have. God says he didn't give you the spirit of fear, but he gave you courage. Because we all suffer. Everybody suffers. We all suffer big. We all suffer small. We do things that upset people, and a lot of times we'll pray and we'll say, God, do you really hear me? And you know, that feeling just ain't the same. And you know, I sing that song and it's not the same. And God, I'm just feeling old. I'm feeling tired. And God, I wake up every day and I have to go to work and do these things, and I go to church and I kind of look, but God, oh God, he gives you the courage to sustain the suffering. He gives you the courage to go through what you got to go through. See, a lot of people during that time told Paul they were his friends, but they didn't want old convict at the house. So they wouldn't acknowledge him. There was a lot of people that had church services. They wouldn't bring him in church because they were ashamed. Because they said, you know, he could do it this way. Because, you know, in your own understanding, he could have brought the word this way. But see, he knew in those years after Jesus died, and you can kind of figure up his age when Jesus died, and it's about 60 or 68 years, and he has a gray head and probably leaning over a little bit. He knew that I'm not ashamed of the Jesus Christ. I have courage in my soul. No matter that I've been locked up, hanged up, put out to dry, I can't quit. I can't give up because my God means so much to me. I understand what everlasting life is. This world is not your home. An affliction. How many of us are afflicted this morning? How many of us like Peter? When it gets rough, we deny. How many of us are just afflicted because we want to be in this world? We want to have the latest clothes, the latest cars. We want it to be easy because, Lord, you know this earth is rough. We got these change of seasons. We got everything going on, and everybody don't like it. I go to work, and they talk about me. I go home, they talk about me. Go to church, they talk about me. God, I don't want to deny you. Do you know Christ? God, you know, I'm going to start working in church. People are going to see it different in me. I'm going to come every Sunday. And I'm going to sit on the pew. I'm going to sing on the choir. I'm going to do those things. I'm going to do that work. I find myself in an old place that I used to be. And I'm trying to get my swag on. And, oh, don't you go to Mount Pilgrim? I used to. We've had that rooster. The crow 3 times. Quit being afflicted. You do it in your own mind. Either you're going to serve him or serve Satan. If you serve God, say you serve God. If in your heart, enjoy life, know who God is, but let people know that God reigns in your life.
Amen.
Quit getting caught up in things before Jesus appeared. I want to slow down because it says when Jesus appeared, he showed us life. He showed us death. And he showed us resurrection power. In these bodies, sin, they will die. How you live your life is meaningful. Don't let the enemy tell you that there's nothing about your life. Don't let the enemy tell you that it's okay for you to sleep all day and do nothing all day. Those things are not real. God says there's a purpose. There's a place for you. There's a voice for you.
Yes.
Resurrection power. When we confess with our mouth that he is our Lord of Lords and Saviors of Saviors, and we confess in him, know that you have a resurrection power that you're going to live for eternity.
Amen.
And it says, immortalized through the gospel, comes out of Romans 1:16. Being immortal, being eternal, does it bother you? Have you asked God what I want to do? I hear people say, well, I guess every day I'm going to get up and sit on the cloud and stir my heart. Have you asked God what your eternity is going to be? Because, see, his time is not like our time. See, our time weighs on us. Our tick-tock weighs on our heart. Our tick-tock, because, see, I can remember what I did yesterday. I knew what I did this morning. But I don't know what's going to happen when I doors.
All right.
And see, those are the things that we have to understand in our immortality, that the enemy will come to destroy, to devour, to take you out. But in your immortality, you will be made whole. Preacher, can you preach the gospel? See, God prayed all this week. He says, Matt Pilgrim, got to understand who they are, that they got to confess with their mouth, that they have to open up their mouth and proclaim my word.
Right.
Just because you say a preacher should act this way, you can't act that way.
All right.
Don't put on me what you won't put on yourself. Don't wake up afflicted because she said, well, God, I'm going to go ahead. You know my heart. You know where I'm at. I'm so worried. I am not ashamed. I have absolute knowledge without doubt. Being committed. Making a deposit. Y'all got to start making a deposit. I'm not talking about money. If you don't start depositing what Christ is putting you into someone else, into the church, into your work, into your home, you have to deposit what God has. What is wrong with walking in church and say, bless this communion table, bless this pew, God bless this church, bless this home, bless this car. Most of us want to talk about the cars we drive and wonder why they broke down. A lot of us want to talk about our spouse and wonder why they're afflicted. A lot of us want to talk about our children and why they were all over the way. When are you going to start pouring and depositing into things that God has placed in you? He didn't put it in you for just to sit in you. God can heal the sick. Touch the lame. Make the blind see. You can make a blind person see. When they tell you, I don't believe in God, you can let them see the light that shines through you. And they will see. Maybe not in the physical, but in the spiritual. I've seen those that eyes were closed in the physical, or open in the physical. God is not dead. If he's not dead, you got to act like it. If God reigns in your life, it's got to be about something. You got to make those deposits. You got to be committed. Paul says, I'm asking you to carry on. I'm asking you to teach, to preach, and each and every one of us, we have to hand that mantle on. I ain't going to be here long. Who wants it? Who wants it? It's the day and time is at the end. Don't let anybody tell you who you used to be. Don't let anybody tell you what you're going to be. Who wants it? I'm looking for somebody to hand this mantle to you. Who wants it? I'll let y'all keep looking at it. And one of the things that he gave us, and guys, I'm almost at the end, and they say that this chapter is so sad. Because he was pushed up against the wall. He was tortured. Couldn't see his family or friends. Couldn't see his church. I guess he could only sing to himself. If he started singing, who knows what happened, because he was a part of that purge. Where they just said, let's just kill all of them. Let's go back to the way it used to be. Paul said, churches, guard the truth of the church. It's up to us. When man comes and tells you, well, this is the way the church should be, when they come in and do these audits, when they come in and do these inspections, when they come in and do this and that and tell you this is the way the church, he says you got to guard it. You got to keep the faith. Because, see, in that time, people were dying just because they said, I believe. In that time, people were losing their lives and losing their mind, and people was running in fear. They didn't have a courage. They didn't have anything. God was saying, I pour out my spirit unto this family. I pour out this family from your mother's generation unto you, and to your generation. God says, you got it. Guard my church. Guard your faith. Guard your experience. Paul writes how Asia had turned their back on their first love. It had gotten so bad that their candle was going to be taken out of the candlestick. They went. They won't do their own way. And I studied in Asia. Is Asia today? Well, I'm going to be nice. I can't sit like Buddha. I'm going to do all those things to live good. But I'm not going to confess my faith when I know who my faith is. He said there was one home that accepted him in and took him in, no matter that he'd been in prison, no wonder that he had been shamed. Even though people said he was crazy, even though people said he had issues, there was one family that took him in, and he said, my son, I want you to stay encouraged. I want you to pray. And my decree to you today is to pray. Pray without ceasing. Study what that means. Because, see, I might turn into a D next Sunday and grade all of it. Because that's what I do. But y'all keep praying for me as well. Ladies, stand. Amen. As we walk this walk, and as we go about our way, I don't know if you even know what I see. I've always had the gift of sight. And I love to see how the Spirit moves. I just see it. Didn't know what was in me when I was young. I had an uncle that would use my gift for numbers. And then one day, Sonny told me, she said, there was a gift God placed in you. She said, use it for good. Don't use it for man. Don't use it for iniquity. And so I don't get fearful anymore. I stay encouraged. Because, see, if I look at you and the Spirit is kind of hugging you in church, I know I got to pray for you a little more and more and more. And I don't want y'all ever to be fearful, because the other church I was at, they ran away because they figured if I touched them, I was going to see something. And if I touched them, they would run away. But see, I had to learn about prayer. Right? I had to learn to pray without ceasing. I had to pray when I was tired. I had to pray when I didn't feel like it. I had to pray when I got mad at the whole wide world and everybody that was in it. I had to learn to pray. I want to know, is there anyone that is not saved? Because, see, even though Paul was talking to the second letter to 2 Timothy, you would hate for God to say, I just got to remove that candle. They know their first love. There's a revival that's going on in Asia that is tearing up the land. Because, see, God spoke their name. And see, even though I can see him working on that candle, working on that wick, getting it ready. And we talk about church. We talk about people, and we're dissatisfied at work, we're dissatisfied at home. I've been everywhere. It's good here.
Amen.
It's a blessing here.
Amen.
God has put us in a place where we can be great.
Yes.
Climb the mount with us. MountPilgrim.org. Worship with us Sundays at 10 o'clock a.m. Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church, 103 Mount Pilgrim Church Rd, Marietta, South Carolina,